Okay, I think we are live. The stream was failing to start for quite some time, but I think we've got it going now. Let's make sure. Come on. Hey, okay, we are live. Awesome. Welcome to the stream. Wow, boy, was there some snow. Now, I'm from Michigan. I grew up with snow every year, multiple times a year, 10, 12, 14 inches of snow. Charlotte got hit with about a foot of snow. Around me, it's about 9, maybe 10 inches of snow. That is a lot for Charlotte. Like that's pretty crazy. And everything's closed down. There's only a couple of disc golf courses that are actually open. For some reason, my brother decided to play. I was staying home watching The Amazing Spider-Man, of course, very much enjoying myself and having a good day. But man, it is gross out there. I did go for a walk outside just to relive the past, and it was nice. I'm good for 5 more years. No more snow necessary. I'm set. The Black Bandit says lost 3 today. Oof, losing discs out there. I do not envy you. I lost a disc on the ice last week. Hit the bank. I have it on video. I'll post that soon. But I threw my M2, my orange one, and hit the ice, hit the bank, and then started rolling back out over the center of the pond and wasn't able to reach it, but somebody did get it back. So thankfully, I will be able to get my M2 back. But now I'm wondering if there's going to be like 6 inches of snow on the ice. So no more skip shots, no more ace runs on scrapyards 8 and 9. It's going to be just snowy, apparently. Scooby Snacks says, live in the Northeast and can't play at all either. And love your vids. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you enjoy them. Appreciate you hopping on the live stream. Yeah, I grew up in Michigan, so man, I didn't play disc golf for most of my life, really not until I moved to Florida. But when I was in Michigan, I was sick of not being able to play sports outside. I was playing soccer all throughout middle school, high school, college, and I hated the whole winter because I wanted to be outside. And you can make it work if you're really desperate, but I was rarely that desperate to make sports happen outside. Absolutely not. So there's like 5 months of the year where I just wasn't playing my sport, my chosen sport outside. I was doing other things, indoor things, or reading, playing video games, stuff like that. A little bit of sledding and stuff. But after a few snowmen, I got my fill of Michigan winter. But now it's like every couple of years thing. There's a big snowfall for Charlotte, kind of that South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida zone that I've been in the last couple of years, and I prefer it this way. It's much, much better. Doc says, hope you find the discs at the Black Bandit. Doc also says, hopefully Tuesday we can get back out. Yeah, I'm going to see what things are like tomorrow. I might hit a course late in the afternoon if it's kind of melting, but still snow on the ground. I might risk it. We'll see what Monday looks like. It looked like it was going to be like 43 degrees and kind of sunny. And that's enough for courses to really start to dry out a little bit. Just depends on how much snow accumulated on which courses and how open they are to the sunshine. Also, the clay, if it's going to be all slimy, slippery, it's probably not worth it either. Scooby Snacks says, hope I used to play soccer, but now I'm on a disc golf team in New Jersey. Ooh, heck yeah. Congrats on that. That's really awesome. Yeah, I wish I had been interested in disc golf in high school and college. I didn't play until I was 26. I really didn't play disc golf. So I played ultimate frisbee. I played on a college team and intramurals and stuff like that, but never disc golf. I played disc golf one time while I was in college, and I hated it because my sidewinder was too overstable. I didn't know what overstable meant, but it kept going left. And now that I know how to throw a disc, it's a completely unique experience, but I can't throw a frisbee now. But I know what it's like to have the winter months linger for far too long and really interfere with sports. But soccer is a good sport. It really gets you very, very active, and it trains your core, and it gives you a lot of endurance for just kind of any other sport. At the heart of soccer is a lot of running, and then some coordination and teamwork and things like that, of course, but it gets you fit, gets you pretty fit. I would eat a lot of food in college because I was practicing and playing soccer constantly and then working out several days a week, and I would eat a lot of calories. Doc says, Scooby, I watched the FPO. Seems like a lot of their energy is from the legs. Playing soccer, do you feel it helps you any? Ooh, that's a good question. And Scooby Snack says, mainly just gave me tons of stamina to play Ultimate Frisbee. Yeah, there you go. That's true. I would say for me, it was just kind of general like core strength from playing soccer. That just helps because you're generating power in a few different ways, but your core is just kind of useful, period. So as you're throwing, it's not all from your core, but if you have a strong core, that's just going to be helpful for your timing and for your consistency and accuracy. That's what I find it kind of helped me with. Also, being able to get that footwork down, it was helpful to have that soccer experience. I do feel like that was useful and helpful because I was used to kind of making sure that my steps lined up to get me exactly where I wanted to have a plant foot for kicking the ball. And it's, of course, a very different motion, but still kind of planting that foot for your throw in disc golf. Kind of similar. Doc says, that's good. Oh, wait, you're playing Ultimate or disc golf? And Scooby Snacks is playing both. Heck yeah. I would sneak at one at a time. I'd be good at one and bad at the other. And that's what I am now, is bad at Ultimate Frisbee. Joseph Wallace says, hi. Thanks for hopping on, Joseph. Toodle says you have a lot of plates behind you. You can eat off of these if you're very desperate, but these are disc golf discs. This one is a Catalyst. It's a very specific, fast, high-speed disc. And all of them fly a little bit differently. So the Catalyst is a high-speed driver, but also mid-ranges. I always about drop that plaque. A mid-range is going to be shaped a little bit differently. It's not going to go as far. It's meant for more control over speed, but a distance driver is going to go very, very far. All of these, as I said, fly differently, and I have them all on the shelf just in case I need them, but I take about 20 with me on a disc golf course when I play. Toodle says, what's CGI? Oh, Doc says most of them are paper plates and the rest are CGI. Of course. Yes, because Doc knows all and knows how to make fun of me. But yes, these are plastic. These are not paper plates. They hurt a lot, so don't get hit in the head. And CGI is computer-generated imagery, which Doc is, of course, making fun of me. All these are all real. No CGI. I have more off-screen. More than I need, I would say. For sure. Scooby Snack says, dude, I used to have a Sidewinder. One time I chucked it down a hill in Quebec and never saw it again. I'm sorry to hear that. I retired my Sidewinder. It was my main driver for so long. Loved it. Then I had Garrett Gerthy sign it, and I just couldn't bring myself to like keep throwing it like normal. And it became my signature disc for MPO players. Let's see, where are you? Oh, this side. So now I have a bunch of signatures from MPO players on the Disc Golf Pro Tour that I got to meet. Garrett Gerthy was the first pro that I actually just met in person, and I ran into him at his home course, Northside Park in Gainesville, Florida, where I was living at the time. It was one of the two courses nearest me, and I had just watched him competing in the Portland Open, went to Northside and just saw him in person. I was like, you're on the Pro Tour. You're Garrett Gerthy. It was very, very cool. Okay. Doc says, Scooby, doesn't bother you to play Ultimate and Disc Golf. I hear a lot of Ultimate talk about the throwing style is different. It's very different, for sure. Scooby Snack says, also overstable, as you said, Innova is so inconsistent. Well, the biggest thing with my Sidewinder was it was flippy. I just couldn't throw it. I was bad at disc golf. I didn't know how to grip the disc and throw. I was throwing it just like a Frisbee, and that, of course, was very overstable for how I was throwing it. But it's essentially now a roller disc for me if I were to still throw it. Doc says, Quebec, dude, ever listen to Chain Out Podcast, a little Canadian podcast? I was their 500th subscriber. Innova's flashing seems to be coming back. I have no concept of that. I have no idea. I don't really buy many new discs. I guess sucks to be Innova. Toodle says, oh, Frisbees. I'm old, never seen them. Well, they are similar to Frisbees, but they're very different. An Ultimate Frisbee disc is wide-rimmed and meant to be thrown and caught. but a disc golf disc is very thin and meant for speed and distance. So these will fly very differently, and a frisbee doesn't really hurt your hands when you try to catch it, but a disc, you don't catch a disc. This is going to break a finger if it hits you at a high speed. So they are very similar, of course. They're in the same kind of family of a thrown disc, but frisbees, as they're known, are very different from discs for disc golf. Very different function. They go much, much further and faster. Doc says, Toodle, welcome to the old club. Scooby says, I guess it bothers me a bit because I have a pretty good ultimate forehand and nothing in disc golf. That's fair. That's fair. I feel like with forehand, it's so hard because you can throw a good ultimate forehand with just a little bit of snap, and you've got that disc flying. But you throw a disc with forehand, it's not good. It's a real struggle to kind of try to generate that power, that speed. It's going to be so different than frisbee. It's kind of insane how different it is. So I'm really not too surprised. Doc says, don't let it bug you. Well, it only, like, I get it. Like, being able to do something in one and not the other can be really frustrating. I had to let go of pretty much everything I knew from Ultimate, except for some upshots, and kind of keep that gentle little putter throw. But otherwise, I had to let it all go because, for one thing, I'm not diving catching anymore and trying to keep a foot in the end zone when I snag the disc, or trying to out-jump people who are taller than me. And I'm throwing discs that fly very differently. So I really dropped a lot of those habits and just kind of learned something totally new. Some foundation was helpful at first, but now my form is fully different than whatever I would do to throw an ultimate disc. Completely different. Doc says Brad was actually poking fun at Toodle, meant no offense to you. Sure. But let's pretend I did. Toodle says, that's me. I'm into any kind of small bowl. I have no clue why I'm obsessed with them. Well, I guess then if you like small bowls, then you like disc golf discs like the Makani and the Sonic. These are made to be eaten out of. Not really, but I guess if you're desperate, you can make it happen. My shelf is not big enough for that ultimate disc. Scooby Snack says, I was at the Paul Macbeth event for the first New York City course. Saw him ace back-to-back. Coolest thing ever. I heard about that. I think it was filmed. I don't know if I watched it or not. I believe I watched it. That is so awesome. Like, that's really, really cool. I heard about that course and the back-to-back ace. That's great. He gave you a buzz? Oh, that's sweet. That's really cool. Doc says, Scooby, have you been here before? I know Scooby drops comments on some videos. I don't know if it's your first live stream or not. Oh, gosh. I'm not replying to either of those comments. Toodle says, do you throw those discs into the chain basket things? Yes. So the baskets are designed to catch disc golf discs. So the chains coming down are supposed to help a disc lose its momentum and fall into the basket. Sometimes they'll spit through or chain out, but usually a good putt or a good throw is going to hit the chains and fall down into the basket. But yeah, I don't have a picture of a basket or anything to show you to demonstrate, but yeah, it's basically got a band at the top and then a cage, a basket, metal at the bottom, and then chains coming down off the center pole. And yeah, that's a disc golf basket. So the idea is to get from the tee pad and get a disc into the disc golf basket in as few throws as possible. So generally a par 3 is going to be somewhere from 200 to 400 feet, generally speaking. And the idea is you have a really good throw to get to the basket, and then you make your putt, and that's a birdie. That's the idea. Of course, you play 18 holes to get an entire round in, similar to the rules of golf. But you're not swinging clubs, you're throwing discs. In my mind, it's more fun to play and watch disc golf versus golf. That's maybe just me, but I think it's much more interesting to watch a disc fly, especially when it's being filmed, versus a golf ball, where you kind of just follow the ball through the air and then all of a sudden, oh, it landed. Like, that's great and all, but I like seeing a disc swing around a tree and then come back right to the basket, barely miss the chains. You know, it flares really far and then somebody makes the huge putt back. Like, it's just so much more interesting. Mr. Who says, my dogs would love you. Yeah, I'm sure that they would like chasing after the discs. I see people playing disc golf with their dogs a lot. Some dogs are super, super like self-controlled. They won't chase discs at all. One of my buddies, Brent, his dogs will chase the discs down, but usually they don't bring them back. And then I was in Florida once, and I had somebody on the course, and their dog found a lost disc right in front of me. Like he just like dug up a disc out of the leaves, and I was like, oh, well, that's handy. So maybe taking a dog out in the disc golf course, not such a bad idea, as long as they're trained. Doc says, Brad would love to see if Scooby's mind is any different than most people's. He can do both ultimate and disc golf. Doesn't seem common. It seems to be people generally switch over. I don't know if that's because of the physicality or because of kind of life stage. I do feel like ultimate tends to be like a little bit of a younger guy's sport where, I mean, I'm barely 30, but I still kind of feel that where keeping the level of fitness for ultimate is a high bar and you've got to be diving, jumping, running around constantly. And disc golf, like you don't have to be in very good shape to be a competent disc golfer. It helps. It makes you better, but you don't have that kind of high bar for participation in the sport. You also don't need, 11 or how many people are on your ultimate team? 6 and 6? Is it 12 total? It's been a while. But yeah, maybe it's some mental stuff too. Scuba Snack says one of my shots is in the Ace Challenge on the Paul Macbeth Foundation. Sweet. I should check that out just to see if I can guess at which one of those guys throwing is Scooby Snacks. That's great. Scooby says, yes, first live stream. Heck yeah. Doc says, maybe a comment is where I heard you say that. Also, Brad, got some Spider-Man questions convo, but I want to wait a while, let people talk disc golf. I'm ready for it. Whenever you want. Remind me, I'm old. Toodle says, you're so sweet, I'm subscribing. I got 2 coworkers who are into the disc thing. Heck yeah, that's great. I advise you, just generally speaking, to give it a try with your coworkers if you want to get out and do something with them. I obviously don't know if they're actually like nice people or not. I'm making that assumption. But it's the good thing about disc golf is you can play at any level. You can be very, very bad at disc golf, and every throw gets you 30 feet closer to the basket. Eventually, you're going to get there. You're going to succeed. And when you play again, you're just trying to play better than you did last time, or trying to play as good as you should play if you're having a decent day. So it's really against yourself. You don't have to compete against other people. I play with people all the time who don't have much experience in disc golf, and I don't really truly consider them like a competitor against me. And if I like beat them, I don't really look to be like in a competition where I'm trying to play a better score than them. I have my own target in mind for what I want to do. And I have other people that I'll compete against that are, well, I've competed against people that are on the pro tour. And when I compete against them, I say it's a dream to be able to compete with them, but realistically, I'm not at their level. I don't expect to play up to their level. That's me at my ultimate best, and I'm probably still not going to be able to beat them, even if they're having like a rough day. So I'm competing against what my level is of me playing a good round in competition, not against what they're doing. So it's a sport that you can pick up, try out, have a good time with some friends, get outside, get some fresh air, apparently some snow right now. But otherwise, usually it's just good to get outside and have a good time with some buddies. It's a really great sport to just jump into and give it a try. It's hard to get good at, but it's easy to start. Much easier than playing golf. Starting golf is very difficult, but starting disc golf is very simple and easy. Doc says, get a bit nervous when I see dogs. Yeah, every once in a while there's a dog out on the course that makes me a little bit nervous, but overwhelmingly the dogs that I see out there are very friendly. Oh my gosh, I saw a corgi German Shepherd mix, and it was the most adorable dog I've ever seen in my entire life. And it like these little legs, it ran right up to me, and it was so cute. I've never seen a dog as adorable in real life since that day. That was hole 12 at Jonesville in Florida. Doc says I have a sick condor that now has bite marks. Oof, that's rough. I don't have any bite marks on any of my discs. I've still yet to have a dog go after a disc and actually bite it and leave a bite mark. Toodle says, is it true those discs can be $1,000? They made fun of Jeff because he paid that much for one. Oof. Maybe he bought a Gyropalooza ticket, like a golden ticket disc. That would make sense because those were going for $1,000. I don't know. Even the Nate Sexton Firebirds. There are some discs that will go for that much. Basically, it's going to be a disc that a Pro Tour player played with and had in his bag, and it was a very specific disc that they were very successful with, like a Nate Sexton Tour Series Glow Firebird or something from Paul Macbeth. But it's going to be pretty rare. So most of the time, it's not going to be like you buy a new disc from the store. It's going to be $20. You're not spending $1,000 on something like that. It's going to be a very specific, valuable disc for a certain reason. Or he bought the Gyropalooza Golden Ticket disc, which got you to an event. There was a whole event in Michigan this year at the MVP headquarters where only if you had a golden ticket could you go in. You couldn't just buy a ticket. So people were like, this is an exclusive event. If I didn't, get the disc by luck, somebody's going to auction it off and I'm going to buy it. So that could have been the circumstance as well. He might have paid $1,000 for an MVP golden ticket disc. Doc says, don't know top prices, but a pro mentioned a disc that a pro mentioned a disc paid his mortgage. Sheesh. I'm sure something's been auctioned off for $30,000, $40,000, but for the most part, the very expensive discs are going to be $100 to $250. That's almost the top level of expense without a special circumstance. Scooby says the Sexton Firebirds are worth a lot. That's true. Doc says, I'd consider it like Pokemon, the ones of us playing the game, picking up cheap ones, but collectors can pay way up there. That's true. Doc says, 35 is my top price, but it was like a player, I liked selling it. I don't know what you just said, Doc. I can't read your comment. Toodle says, thank you for educating me. We've got you covered. Scooby says, I used to collect Pokemon, but now can't find anything because of the scalpers. Yeah, that's a real problem. It's the same thing as what happened to Luna Battle Packs and the Simon Lizotte Sky God. It's definitely, there's a lot more variety in disc golf, so it's harder to scalp, but it can happen with limited releases. The best way to get a hold of something is at an event when they have a special drop, but it's hard because those are all over the country and it depends on what's being dropped, and they're going to limit how many you can buy. They're only going to let you buy 1 or 2 or 3, depending on what it is, if it just dropped. Scooby says, Toodle, of course, you should try disc golf. When I started playing, I thought it'd be really boring, but it grew on me. I think that's exactly right. It's a sport where it's just enjoyable. It's just whatever you want out of it, you can get out of it. If you want to just relax, then you can just have a very chill round in the woods. If you want to have something competitive with your buddies, you can go for that. If you want to get better every single time you play, that can be your goal. If you want to practice throwing out in the open field over and over again until you know what every single one of your discs does, you can do that. If you want to work on your form with YouTube videos, go for it. If you want to practice on putting in your backyard by just aiming at a tree or buying a basket, all the power to you. It's whatever you want to put into it. And for me, I play in competitions, I play in tournaments a lot, and I've done some limited traveling for competitions as well. And I played in Missouri this year, as well as Michigan, Florida, some in Tennessee, and a lot in Charlotte, North Carolina. If that's what you want out of it, you can go for it. You can play and do your best. But it's a sport that you can just jump into and just have a good time. Let's see. Doc says, Scooby, keep an eye on Whatnot. Some of the battle packs are coming out for a more regular price. It's good advice. Toodle says, I have all my son's Pokemon cards. He's 32 now. There you go. All the Pokemon cards. I wasn't allowed to play Pokemon as a child. That was a bummer. I did like the show. Kevin Galloway says, disc golf in the snow stinks, by the way. It wasn't. It was fun until it wasn't. So I'm guessing it was fun until Kevin lost a disc. I'm guessing that's what happened. Yeah, my brother played, and they were basically sending a spotter out on every single hole to run up and watch for the disc to land. And my brother said that a disc would like go in the snow, and then go right over to where it went in the snow, and it'd be like 5 feet away in one of any direction. It'll just be 5 feet, like it ricochets under the snow. Man, that's got to be hard to find. It's got to be hard to find, especially with more than like 6 inches of snow. That's enough, man. Doc says, Kevin, if you're with friends, it can be fun, but solo, not so much. Doc says, Brad, sorry, I meant a mortgage payment. Sorry about that. That is perfectly in line with what I was kind of thinking, where $1,000 plus is very, very rare, but occasionally, and it would probably be an 8 Section Firebird or something like that. But that makes sense. Not a full mortgage. Scooby Snacks has got a battle pack for 50, 25 a disc. Not bad. JCT hopping in the stream. Heck yeah. Says, what's up, everybody? Thanks for hopping on, JCT. How have your first couple of weeks with Lone Star been? I have a few Lone Star discs, not too many. I have the Tex. Ugh. Got myself a Tex right here. Just a little bit flippy. 6.5, -3.2. I should probably bag that, actually. I should probably put that in the bag because my Dynasty is getting pretty beat up. Poor guy. Betamax says, are you Amish? Do you do Amish Frisbee? No, I have a mustache. Let's see. Doc says, yeah, that's the price I've seen. 50 for the 2. Do you watch Co-op Collections? Is that the live stream you're talking about? Doc says, just hibernating from the snow. Scooby says, yeah, a couple times. Mostly I've been sitting on the cards I got, and the scalpers are actually pumping up the prices like crazy. That's so frustrating. Seen the Lovebirds card co-op. I don't know. Is that Pokemon specific? Keeping myself off Whatnot for February. No reason at all. Not because I bought too many books. Well, hey, I mean, let me put it this way. I respect a good book collection. Absolutely. And I know that you tend to spend too much on Whatnot, and it hurts when you have a ton of discs and buy more discs. But you know what? If you have a lot of books and you buy more books, I don't blame you. I totally understand that. I've recently bought a stack of discs despite having dozens that I have not read that I own and that are on my list to read, and now I am just adding to the pile. But you know what? Now I own more books, so it's worth it. Scooby says, Brad, this stream is so chill. Love it. Best thing for a Sunday night. That's what I want to hear. That's my goal. I like to hang out and have a good time with you guys. I absolutely love it. I find that it's a great way to just kind of chat and connect, and I feel like it really builds the community, even if Doc is part of that. But I appreciate you being here and hanging out. We need somebody to balance Doc and somebody to type legibly so that I can read complete sentences and communicate back and forth. Doc says, JCT, congrats on the sponsor. Amish can only throw pie plates. What is Amish Frisbee? That's a really good question. I'm pretty sure that you play disc golf, but you can't record scores on phone. I'm pretty sure that's the only difference. You have to use like clay tablets and push into it. Sanskrit. Pretty sure that's how it's done if you're Amish. JCT says they've been really rough, switched up putters, and all the new discs. It's so weird. Nothing beat in, all brand new. Yeah, that would be brutal. That would be brutal. Doc says, Brad, you said stacks of discs. Did you mean books? And if books, what books? Spill the tea. Yeah, I mean, stack of books is what I said, what I meant to say. So I have an eclectic grouping of books that I snagged recently. I have read Pathfinder by Orson Scott Card, but I was interested in kind of restarting, like jump-starting reading that series. So I bought the first book. It's been probably 14 years, 16, 18 years since I read Pathfinder. So I snagged that Orson Scott Card. I got a couple by Andrew Peterson, the Windfeather Saga. I've been very interested in reading those for a long time. Eli Monpress by Rachel Aaron caught my eye. I don't know much about it, but I snagged it. I think it's book 1 of a series. I'd love to give it a try. I read Six of Crows, which was fantastic. Same author as the my brain would do this, of course, Shadow and Bone series, which was on Netflix. I haven't watched it or read the Shadow and Bone books, but someone I trust recommended Six of Crows, and it was fantastic. Love it. So I'm reading the second book, Shattered Kingdom, or Shattered Kingdom, or Broken Kingdom, or something. Scattered Kingdom. It's some type of bad thing that happened to a kingdom. But yeah, it's a good book so far. I've read 1 chapter. Let's see, what else do I have over here? I have some Ted Dekker books, The 49th Mystic, Terry Pratchett. Let's see. One of the authors that I have read in the past who wrote like a bunch of different medieval fantasy books. Cinda Williams Chima or Kima. I have Flamecaster. I'm not vouching for any of these books. I haven't read them yet, but it caught my eye. Looked pretty good. And then I snagged Defy by Sarah B. Larson as well, and more. I have more books in that stack of purchases, but their titles are backwards and I can't really read them. They're off screen and everything. But some of them I've read, some or many by the author Ted Decker. I've read almost all of his books, probably 45 books of his that I've read, and maybe 5 that I haven't. Other than co-authored with his daughter, which I've not read. But yes, I have many, many books. Many, many books. Mr. Mann is here. Hello, says hello, Brad. Thanks for hopping on. Doc says, no one tell him my sentence structure is amazing. It's just that he can't read. Poor little fella needs a win. Yeah, being told that I can't read is a sure sign the person talking to me has never met me in person. Doc says, Mr. Mann, how are you doing? Mr. Mann says he's doing well. Good. Glad you're back. Doc says, JCT, did you reach out to anyone who is on the team that might have some used stuff that they would sell? Oh, man. If you apparently, what are their names? There are a couple. Shoot, what are their names? I have a disc from them that they gave to me. They just left Lone Star. They're a couple. And they offloaded all of their discs in Charlotte at one of the local Play It Again or something like that. And people were there like snagging, $10 a piece. They're snagging like $45 discs, like in Lone Star stuff. Dang, what are their names? I cannot remember. Kind of crazy. Doc says, can't complain. Work has been slow because of snow. Real Mr. Bojangles says, I have an Innova Factory Second X out. My buddy that plays wants it. Is it worth anything? So that's an interesting question because technically speaking, I don't know what disc that is because an Innova Factory Second X out isn't an actual disc name. Right? The X out is just a disc that had a mistake on it. I'm double checking. Yeah. So an X out disc could be a number of different discs. It's not necessarily a specific disc, but if it's Innova, it's going to have the name like etched on the bottom plate. Oh wait, an X out is a disc. No, it's not. Okay, yeah. Okay. No, it's not a disc. So yeah, the X out describes it as being a flawed or a faulty disc in some way. It should still fly exactly the same, but they messed something up with the coloration or double stamped it or something like that. So that's Innova's version of a disc that's kind of like a little bit messed up, but it's going to be cheaper that way. So what you're going to have to do if you want to find out exactly what it is you're going to want to look underneath somewhere around the center of the disc. It should tell you the weight and the name of the disc, like a Sphinx or whatever, Firebird or Thunderbird. It should have it etched into the bottom of the disc. So if you tell me what disc it is, then I can tell you, generally speaking, if it's worth anything extra. Probably isn't. It's probably just a $20 disc that your buddy wants. So yeah, I wouldn't assume that it's worth a whole lot. Genius Orange Oregon says, I saw the orange disc. My brain was like, ooh, Fiestaware plate. I don't know if you're talking about this one. This one is a buzzsaw. It just has the kind of saw blade design on the side. Let's see. JCT says, got to keep 25% of my original bag. So kept Luna that I aced with, Zone, Beaten, Pink Destroyer, Passion, Bear, and a Champion Boss as your beefcake driver. That's not too bad. That's kind of a backbone all the way up of a useful disc in each kind of slot there. Doc says, yeah, Brad, spent over 200 and whatnot, but to be fair, most were $1 and dollar shipping and handling. That's very good. That's very, very good. So you bought a lot of books then. How many books did you get with $200? It sounds like you got like 50 or something, which is incredible. Because I got 14 discs and it was about $83, $86, something like that. JCT says, been playing consistently. They'll get there. Yeah. Doc says, Brad, don't think I've read any of those. Keep me updated. So yeah, I would recommend in general the Shadow and Bone series, and then Six of Crows and Shattered Shattered whatever kingdom. I forget what it's called. And then the other duology that is in the series that I don't remember what it's called. I haven't read all these books yet. I've only read one of them, but they're very, very good. So I would probably just in general recommend them. Of course, The Inheritance Cycle, everything by Christopher Paolini, I pretty much recommend. All of his science fiction space books. A lot of people who read them say they're just okay. They're nothing special. I think he really just wanted to branch out more so than think that he had something particularly special to write. But he did manage to enjoy having that that published. So I do think that that's a good series to or a good author just to go by. And then Ted Dekker is very good. I mean, I have tons of book recommendations. Um, let's see. Terry Pratchett, you've read in Love. That's good. Yeah, Pratchett's good. I mean, he's weird. He's so weird, so I'm not surprised that you like him. Not at all. Not one bit. Two Measly Poots says, do you like to golf? I'm not a real golf fan. I don't love golf. I'm okay at it, like very minimally okay at golf. My dad taught me how to play as a kid, and I was like chipping in the backyard for a few months. Um, I've gone to Top Golf, and it's a lot of fun, but it's just not a sport that I really connect with or enjoy. Not to mention the monetary expense. So I play disc golf, where I have a bunch of discs, hit the disc golf course, walk in a couple of hours, an hour if I'm by myself, and just kind of have a great time out on the disc golf course. And I can compete in tournaments with relatively low cost to be able to play, with other people and try to win. Yes, it is Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. So those are the two books. Doc says, Brad, next show, if it gets slow with disc golf, we'll need to hear more about your books. Of course. I mean, I'm always ready to talk about books. Always ready to talk about books. Scooby says, Brad, what's your relation to Doc? Doc says, Scooby, he's my son. It's not true. No relation, just a fan. Brad is the couple online play under Charlotte Discs or something. No, they're pro tour players who dropped out of the tour and sold out of the discs. I just can't remember their names for no reason. I know who they are. I can see the guy's name. His face, sorry. I can see his face. I just cannot remember his name for no reason. It's killing me. Ellen, Alex, AJ Carey. The Carries. AJ and Deanna Carey. They just dropped from Lone Star. I don't know if they're stepping off the tour or just offloading everything from Lone Star because they switched manufacturers. But they dropped everything off in Charlotte at a local plate again, and people that knew were like zipping over there at like 3:15, 20 minutes after it got dropped off, and like getting a bunch of really valuable plastic for a cheap price. I'm surprised that they took that route of just kind of dumping everything at plate again. Sure, they got some money for it, but they can't have gotten that much compared to what they would if they put in some effort to list everything, put it on eBay. I don't know. To be honest, not sure what they could have done. Maybe they were just ready to drop it all and get $100. No clue. Hey, Silas is here. Sarah Coward says hi. Doc says, JCT, I don't know what the deal is. What deal you get? By the way, keep an e. This is on me. JCT, I don't know what deal you get, by the way, but keep an eye out on discount discs for Lone Star. Also, their whatnot. Okay. I got through that one. Too Measly says, how did you learn so much about frisbees? Well, I used to play Ultimate Frisbee, so I actually was quite familiar with frisbees, but disc golf discs being quite different and much harder to throw. My brother got me into it. Eventually, he taught me how to grip a disc and throw it correctly, which is much harder than throwing a frisbee and really requires a grip that gets you a good grip underneath the disc and on the rim. Because if you don't have a good grip on the rim, then when it leaves your hand, like I used to throw something like this, when it leaves your hand, it's not spinning very fast. When you have a finger hooked under the rim or a power grip, when that leaves your hand, it snaps out of your hand, spinning much, much faster and can actually go very far. I got some kind of help getting started for my brother, and then taught myself a lot. Did a ton of practice in my backyard. Got a basket for Christmas from a couple of buddies of mine, and was starting to putt in my backyard. And I taught myself basically how to putt. I looked up how Greg Barsby putted, and I've shifted very far away from his style now, but he kind of gave me a springboard of figuring out what I wanted to do with my style of putting. Um, and I've looked up some advice. Joel Freeman has some good tips for throwing distance. I got a lesson from Johnny McRae. But for the most part, it's been figuring things out, testing things, trying to shift things around or switch something up with my form and just see if it works. And if it does or doesn't, then I make an adjustment and keep going. So it's mostly self-taught. Then I just got really interested in the watching disc golf, the Pro Tour, and I started to learn a lot of the kind of lingo and terms, and then get more understanding of how the PDGA works and what it means to compete in tournaments. Started playing tournaments, and then it's all downhill from there. I competed a lot in disc golf. Okay. Mr. Man says, did Brad get rid of some discs? Oh, I lost that. G-Key with the $2. Thank you so much. Says, buy yourself an Enigma. That'd be the cheapest Enigma on the planet. But thank you so much. Really appreciate the donation. And shout out G-Key for hitting a personal best at Scrapyard. I watched it happen, and my man fought back from 3 strokes over par through 5 holes, and fought back under par throughout the rest of the round. And it was like 31 degrees. Like, it was cold out. Maybe 36. It was cold out. Snow and ice was still on the course, and man had a great back 9 and brought it down under par, put up a personal best. I got to watch it happen. It was epic. It was really, really cool. Okay. I need to catch up on comments. I'm really back. Did Brad get rid of some discs? The rack seems like it's missing quite a bit. Yes. No, I did not. I have a bag right here with 30 discs in it, most of which I took off my shelf for throwing across the water at Scrapyard and trying to skip off the ice. So it's just out of frame at the moment. Didn't get rid of them. Some disc names are etched on the inside rim. They are, but Innova puts it toward the center, not on the rim. Doc says, noticed that, but didn't want to ask. Yep, they're just back there. Might need to send more dragons and shoes. Wookie says, if it's penned, take a black light if you can't read it. Interesting. Called the books discs again. Have you not been able to play much? I have not been able to play much with the snow. And yes, I'm sure that I'm saying stacks of books or stacks of discs, and I'm just getting it swapped. That's just how I talk. That's just the way that I do things, because I make mistakes as much as and often as I can. I was trying to say gift cards a few weeks ago, and I kept saying disc cards over and over again. I could not get that right. Oh, I should show you. This is the one thing. I'll step off camera for this. I'll be right back. Okay. Bought my jerseys for Infinite Discs so that I can properly represent them in my videos and in competition. I'm very, very excited for this green one here. And this blue one. I think it looks really sweet. Grip. Now that I have these, I should be able to film while wearing them and create YouTube shorts that are eligible for getting gift cards, not disc cards, gift cards to the Infinite Discs team store. I'm very excited for that. GK says, how shiny is my disc member icon? Heck yeah, dude. That pink disc is nice and shiny. It's very beautiful. And shout out to GK, Doc, and all others who are members of the channel. It's a kind of a weird thing being a channel member. And for me, I don't have like a ton of amazing perks for being a channel member. There are some emotes that are custom made that are pretty sweet, in my opinion. You also get the badge. You'll get a shout out when I drop a video. And you're automatically entered into giveaways. Ooh, I need to run that giveaway. I have a disc to give away. I need to get that video made tomorrow. Thank you for the reminder. So shout out to the legends who are paid to be channel members. and I really, really appreciate the support. It means a lot to me, and you guys are awesome. Let's see. JCT says, all right, bye, everybody. Thought I'd drop by real quick. Got stuff to do. Have a blessed night. Thanks for hopping in for a few minutes. James says, have a great stream. Wish me luck. I just got fired from NASA after 20 years. Ouch. Good luck. I'm sure that you are overqualified for a lot of jobs, so I hope you find something good. Sarah Coward says, Doc, what does that pink thing mean on your user? Yes, the discs there are because the Legendary Channel members get a badge that updates every month or every couple of months to an upgraded version of that bag. Very excited for them. Doc says, Brad, I will have to put your recommendations after you read them on the Discord. I can't remember. You know that. Scooby says, is there a Discord? I want to join. Yes. Let me see if I can pull up the invite link. Last time I tried to open Discord while I was streaming, it did not work. Mr. Man says, it's the cold. I hear him switch back and forth between discs and books. Yeah, I wish I could blame the cold. Unfortunately, it's not the cold. What Pratchett books did you get? Well, I have, let's see, 4 Terry Pratchett books total. Ugh. But, oh no, I got Terry Brooks, sorry. Let's see, I have the Mort, and there were 2 more Terry Pratchett ones. What were they? I can't remember what they're called, but I know one of them is Mort. Then I've got a Terry Brooks book, Daughter of Darkness. I have more Terry Brooks than I have Terry Pratchett. I know they're totally different authors, but I might have said Terry Pratchett because I have some of his, but when I actually was reading Terry Brooks, got the swapped. Rare thing for me to swap what I'm trying to say with something else. I don't know why. So strange. Once a stream, I guess it happens. Scooby Snack says, hey Brad, how do you sustain yourself and play so much disc golf? Sounds like a dream. I kind of have in a combination of online work, designing websites, and working for a nonprofit, kind of doing their tech work, social media, updating their website, things like that, as well as whatever I do get from my YouTube channel, which is fairly limited in the last couple of months for no reason. I don't know why winter is terrible, I guess. It's just maybe the way that it is. But there's a nice kind of consistent and steady income over time from the YouTube channel, mostly from the YouTube shorts, and then some, of course, from live streams and some donations like Jiki. But it's kind of this combination of a couple of different things where I get the money. Keep myself going. Sarah Coward says, when do you think we can get a round in? Sometime in February. Oh, wait, it's February 1st. Sometime this month. So most of my weekends are fairly kind of packed, so we'll have to connect about exactly when might work. If there are any days or half days that you have off school, that would be a day that I would maybe try to target to make that work. Doc says like 40 or 45 books. First one shipping usually $5, then $1 each after that. Wow, that's awesome. Jiki says he doesn't sleep. Either you work or sleep. Sleep disc golf, work disc golf. Let's see. Let me drop back to the Discord and see if I can get that invite. I'm not very good with, oh, here we go. I think I copied it. We'll get the Discord link in the chat here. That should help. He's usually behind. Dude, I'm so far behind. Okay, I'll run through some chats really quick. Chris Holmes says, unbeaten Gazelle. I do have a Gazelle. I don't know where it is. I have a Gazelle, and Gazelles don't have a bead. They're fairway drivers. Jiki says, are you behind or am I behind? Oh, I'm behind. Crazy how your name is more searchable than mine. I hate YouTube. Sorry, I don't know why that's the case, but maybe it's just because Birdietime is such a great name. Oh gosh, I'm so far behind. Thank you for putting the Discord link in the chat, Jiki. Really appreciate it. I also dropped it later. If anyone's trying to look for it, I just dropped it again. Sarah says, somebody say something rude so I can do my job as a moderator. Oh my gosh. Mr. Man says he should add the Discord link in his page. He's already put up the Instagram and TikTok links there. I thought I did. I will have to do that. Thank you. I thought I did. Scuba Snack says, oh, you putt like Brad? That's why you're so good at putting nose down. Oh, man. Dox is telling him, but kids today, yeah, forgetful, apparently. GK says, I don't even think Brad on my screen knows that I'm in the chat. I do now. Crazy around for real. 18 parked with all the pressure on the line. Unbelievable. That's true. 2 feet away from the pole on the last hole, and it's a hole that can easily be bogeyed because there's a gap to hit. Whew, it was awesome. Doc says you only lost one disc doing that. Congrats. Most of them stayed close, and a retriever was able to snag it. But yeah, one of them just stood up and rolled on the ice. But I will get it back. I will get it back. Somebody found it. GK says I threw my 6 best drivers across 9 and lost none of them. Brad threw 2 and lost 1. Not surprised you were with him. The radio-controlled tractor on the ice. Yeah, that was awesome. That was Jared's disc. That was his FD. Nice jersey. The green is sick. Heck yeah. I love the jerseys. Absolutely love them. Just got them like yesterday. We get to stare at Brad's house for hours and hours on end as members is pretty cool. I didn't know that was a perk. I didn't include that. I must have left my address in the membership line. That's my fault. Jiki says, was trying to find an app today. I don't know if there's something for it, but you should get relay buffer so you can always read temporary files and keep the good stuff. Record temporary files and only keep the good stuff. Interesting. So I can delete every time that I film you doing an ace run. Sorry, that's me. So, long story short, Jiki did something cool and I didn't film it, and he's not letting me live it down. So now I'm trying to point out all the times when I filmed and wasted the film of filming him because I feel bad that I missed it. It's not working. Mr. Man says, Doc, post the membership emotes. I would love to see them. So we've got a Team Brad and a Team Brent emote. I love those. Those are fantastic. And they actually look like me and Brent. And then me drinking some soup, and then a disc golf basket. And there are 3 more emotes. A few more people joining as channel members will unlock those emotes for everybody. Sarah says, everyone subbed to Brad. He's so close to 8. What is that? Trillion? I'm not that close to 8 trillion, but I'm close to 8,000. So yes, subs are welcomed if you feel like it. Scooby Sack says, join the Discord. What's going on there? It is a little bit small at the moment. We are kind of trying to build up, but it would be great. I think it would be ideal if we have we have servers. Shout out to Dugit for setting up all the servers. But if we kind of had some regular interaction of like, hey, here's a quick video of my form, any advice? And we can all maybe give some tips to each other for form improvements or recommendations, and then kind of bag recommendations. What disc should I buy? Here's everything that I own. What am I missing? I think those are kind of the 2 like big things that a community can really help with. But generally speaking, Doc, Dugit, and I just tend to post intermittently and just kind of throw something out there for us to talk about and have a good time. So it's really just a community thing. And the more people that we get, the more interactions that we are able to have. There's only like a dozen of us right now, so it's just a little bit small. Jiki says, this guy's a reader. Wish he got those trivia questions right. Hey, I've never read any Stephen King, all right? But great story. And I know I'm still behind in the chat, but Jared and I and a couple of other friends and disc golfers did a trivia night, and we tied for the win and won in a tiebreaker. One of our guys went up and won the tiebreaker, and we beat like 7 other teams. It was pretty epic, and it was fantastic. We really, really enjoyed it, and it was a surprise. We needed all of us. Every single one of us contributed to answering correct answers that if one of us hadn't been there, we wouldn't have won. So it was really, really great. But the book questions were Stephen King related, and I did not get those. Mr. Man says, those look great. Are those noodles? We're talking about the jerseys? Are they noodles? I don't know. I'm so behind in the chat. Oh, you're talking about the emotes. Yeah, that's soup. I mean, that could be noodles, but generally speaking, it's the soup inside joke. I'm a little behind mentally. Jiki's dropping the Brad drinking soup. We should get a Brad wave emote. Scooby Snack says, you sound like a great speaker. Thank you. I assume that's for me. I do try to speak well. Sometimes I get all tripped up. But I did spend a few years as a pastor. I was a youth pastor, so I did a lot of teaching and preaching from up front and, of course, in the youth group. So I'm fairly accustomed to kind of being in front of a crowd. It's honestly more weird to just look at a camera. and talk as if there's a person in front of me, because without somebody in the room, it's kind of weird to just talk to a camera by myself. But I make do. I kind of make things up as I go along. Sarah Coward says, everyone subscribe to me, please. Self-promotion band? No. All right, Sarah Coward, just let my dad know. Perfect, Silas. We'll make it happen. Jiki says, the delay is literally like 5 minutes. I might have to dip. Of course it is. It had to be soup. Yes, it is soup. Okay, stream isn't behind. You're just behind. Yes, I'm behind. Jiki says, Brad is a sneaky man, but I'm a mod. Unstoppable. Let's see. I can remove your mod. Remove as standard moderator. There's an option right here. This is so easy. Oh, I should hide user on this channel. You'll never be able to leave a comment again. I could put you in timeout. I could report you. But instead, I'll just pin the message. Scooby Snack says, sorry, I meant you putt like Greg Barsby. That's why you're so good at nose down. Okay, gotcha. You're talking to me. Yes, I did learn a little bit of that kind of nose down style from Greg Barsby, and I really stopped putting really high and dropping in and having that kind of hyzer on that putt. But that kind of fundamental element of my putting style has stuck with me. So I do tend to have that kind of casted nose down putt that drops into the cage instead of kind of risking the chains popping it back out. So that is my style, and it is based on Greg Barsby originally. He says hello. Thanks for hopping in. Silas says, dude, you have to go to Frank Lisk. It's so open, but it's fun. I'll go sometime when it's not cold. Sometime when it's not cold. One day. Jiki says, that's Jiki to you. You would never stop the recording on my ace. I wish that I had recorded your ace because I wasn't there. You went without me. Ace without me. Rude. Can't believe it. But yeah, I would hopefully record your ace because you are going to ace while we're playing together. It's going to happen. And I am going to maybe record it, possibly. Let's see. Did Brad like his emote? I love the emotes. Doc says, Brent did hard to tell with Brad. Yeah, Brent loves the emote too. Jiki says, if you need any Discord setup, I may be able to help with something like that. Yes, I need help with it. Duja does a good job. I stink at Discord. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm too old. Doc says, I figured Jiki, but don't call people out for typos like Brad. Okay, whatever. Upcoming mangaka says hi. Brent says, I'm here. Hey, Brent's here. What do you know? We were just talking about you. Doc says, hey, Team Brent. Heck yeah, Team Brent. Nice. Doc says, Sarah, watch upcoming might need to ban somebody. Heck yeah. Right, all right. I'm almost caught up, guys. I'm very close. I'm running through the comments really fast. Jiki says, you pinned it? I did pin it. I have the power, so I have the power to platform you as you criticize me. Doc says, okay, whatever. Hey, Mini owns Zach's on here. Thanks for hopping on, Zach. Jiki says, every one of my best clip farming moments isn't recorded by you. It's sad. Sure. Yeah, sad. That's what I'll call it, sad. Makal says, Avengers Doomsday will be epic. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. It's kind of hard to stick with all of the latest Marvel stuff after Endgame. Watched a handful of things, a couple of shows that were pretty good. I will be, of course, following every Spider-Man movie very, very closely. Madam Web does not count. I am very interested in Avengers Doomsday to see if it does well. Scooby Snacks says, what is your opinion on another round disc golf, the channel? They have a ton of aces. I have a couple of opinions. Number one, I think that Joseph is pretty good, but he doesn't compete, and I get it, but I'd like to see him actually play rounds of disc golf at some point. He's very good at making small adjustments and repeating so that he gets his aces. And it's kind of interesting because it's a skill that anybody could have. Anybody could just throw into the ace. I've done it several times. It's fun. But I like playing tournaments. I like competing against other people. I like playing my best over the course of an entire round with shot shapes and choices and strategy and needing to make putts when they actually matter. And that's not to criticize Joseph, but his style allows him to basically have like there's almost no way to fail if all you do is just throw until you ace, because everything that's kind of close or everything random that happens or anything funny, it's all content. And I do something similar where I film my rounds, where I'm pulling out just little bits from here, there, and everywhere. But I'm also competing in tournaments and failing and losing or winning. And there's something next level to putting yourself on the line in a situation where you can't fail. So that's not ultimately to really criticize Joseph, but I do think that there are a lot of people that don't respect what he does. I'm not at that level where I think that what he does is stupid, but just ace chasing, I think, is so limited, and disc golf is so much bigger than that, that I wish that I would see him branch out more. So that's my opinion. But yes, all of his aces, it's tee pad to basket, so it is an ace. It's a practice ace. A different thing than a first shot ace for sure, but it's still an ace. And I have 7 first shot aces and 28 practice aces. So I've got way more practice aces than real aces. They're not quite the same thing, but at the same time, an ace is an ace. So it's a lot of fun to watch him. But yeah, he's interesting. Wish that he would play in tournament. Doc says, GK, get back to him. You could spill the tea on the lady in his videos. GK might have insight into my real life a little bit. That's very true. Let's see. Doc says, Scooby, see the last one with Yuli. I have seen some with Yuli that he filmed. I actually saw him out with Yuli recently, and I've seen him out with Yuli multiple times. They're just out all the time throwing ace runs. Cheeky says, I know the lore. Right. I got messed up on the chat. Where'd I go? Okay. Hey, Silas, you got to delete a message. Nice. Heck yeah. GK says, I retracted the message. Get owned. Doc says, Brad, did you say you were not a Venom fan? I'm not particularly a Venom fan, but I like Venom. Like, it's fine. Like, I enjoyed the Venom. Let's see, the first 2. I don't know if there's 3, but they're good. I've never been like a Venom fan or a Deadpool fan, but I've watched the movies and liked them and enjoyed them for the most part. But Spider-Man, I'm a Spider-Man fan. So that's kind of how I describe him. I love Spider-Man and I like Venom, but I don't have that kind of level of interest that I do for Spider-Man. And it's really the same with most Marvel. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily a Marvel fan. I like a lot of Marvel movies, but Spider-Man is at the very top. I was very excited when Spider-Man officially got its way into the MCU, and I was very early on. I was looking at rumors for who would play Spider-Man for the MCU, and I was looking at a couple. Asa Butterfield was one of the choices, and maybe Will Poulter actually was another one, and then Tom Holland. And I immediately saw Tom Holland doing some gymnastics and flips, and I was like, that guy is a good Spider-Man. I really hope that he ends up being Spider-Man. And here we are with a 4th Spider-Man movie in the works coming soon. Very, very excited for that. I believe it's June that it's coming out. June's going to be a good month. But I'm very excited. I'm very much a Spider-Man fan. 100%. Let's see. Jiki says, you just make a good shot and call it a short. I break the sound barrier with a drive while looking deadpan at the camera. It was a pretty funny moment. I do regret not getting that filmed. Scooby Snack says, what about Queen City Disc? That is Christian Stewart. He does play tournaments. I do have a lot of respect for that. And I like the variety on his channel. I don't want to say he's not being authentic. I definitely have my preferences with how I run my channel, that I really want to try to make things like I try not to have content that's very manufactured. Like I'll throw him until I ace, but I don't, pretend like it was my first throw. Not saying that Christian does that Queen City does that, but they do kind of have that, I'll give you $500 if you ace, or They have more dramatic titles and kind of lean into that a little bit more. But also at the same time, Christian is a good disc golfer. So I'm not saying that he's not competent, like some other Jay Milley content creators who aren't actually very good disc golfers. Just create content that changes so fast that your young brain can't look away. Um, Christian is actually quite talented and competes very well sometimes in local Charlotte disc golf tournaments and has put up better scores on courses than I've put up locally. And I have a lot of respect for his capabilities and his play. I don't watch a lot of his videos. I've seen several, but like I said, I kind of have my own style of editing and my style of recording content, and I tend to do very legitimate. What I did is what I did, playing practice rounds or doing a forehand only, something like that. But that's just my style. It's kind of my thought process. Sarah says, put him in timeout. There you go. Thank you, Silas. Appreciate it. Doc says, also Marvel. See Wonder Man TV show yet? No. Zach says, cool shirt. Thank you very much. Watched the first Amazing Spider-Man today. I love all the Spider-Mans, but was just watching the old Andrew Garfield one more time. Probably watch the second one sometime soon. How do you pin something? I unpinned it. I think it's still pinned, right? Mr. Man says that would be the ultimate spin on a pin, Jiki. Pinning the unpinned pin, unpinning the unpinned pin message. I don't understand. It's still there for me. Did you put it back? I don't know. I don't know how it works. Doc says Brad sees Spider-Man Unlimited is why I asked about Venom. Spider-Man Unlimited. No. Spider-Man. I don't think I've seen Spider-Man Unlimited. Is it animated, not live action? I'm guessing. Also, have you seen the cheesy live action Japanese Spider-Man? No. No, I have not. Jiki says, all right, I'm actually gonna dip now. Peace out, Jiki. Thanks for hopping by. Really appreciate you. Legend. Congrats on your personal best, and thanks for helping us win trivia. Just say you hate his clickbait. Congrats on getting double pinned. Jay Milley is pretty decent disc golfer. Okay, Doc. Mr. Man says have to go too. See you guys on the next one. Scooby Snack says Queen City does have a ton of clip farming. They've gotten some viral clips though. I think Christian Game is good, but they can work on the channel style, I guess. Scooby Snack saying Jay Milley is the GOAT. He's very popular. Put it that way. He's very popular. Christian was the first disc golfer I ever watched. Then Jay Milley, Love Millionaire, but then came here. Your videos are great. I really appreciate it. By the way, I'm not saying that my style is more successful than either of them. They both have way more subscribers than me. Jay Milley has broken out of disc golf and has made himself a very popular name in the sports. Christian has, like you said, made viral clips and had very successful videos, and he has like 25,000 subscribers, and I'm stuck at 7, growing and grateful, but definitely not at his level. And I completely acknowledge that and respect that. I don't think that I deserve more subscribers. I don't think that I put in more work than they have or more time than they have. But also, I've put my nose to the grindstone on tournaments and put in a lot of effort to practice for competition, as well as film and produce content on the channel and build up the community over the live streams. And I'm happy with where we are. I'm very glad and grateful for the community that we do have. And I've seen the work that I put in pay off, and I'm grateful that I've done things the way that I have. I think that my reputation is an honest one, and the content that I put out, generally speaking, is all very legitimately what I did, other than my April Fool's video last year, but that was on purpose. And I like having that style of content so that somebody actually knows who I am. Somebody who runs into me at a local course and says hi to Birdietime, to Brad, they know true things about me. They're not coming in trying to get past this persona of my channel. I am who I am. So I don't have anything that I'm hyping up. I'm not pretending to be somebody else while I'm on camera. None of that's happening. I'm just me doing my best to be a decent disc golfer and create a community where we can hang out and have a good time. Scuba Snack says, Jay Millie's the GOAT besides you. I definitely don't want to make any implications about his character. I'm not trying to do that. Let's see. Dude just says, still buried under the snow. Jared says, been watching Fallout. I'm in the middle of Fallout Season 2, Episode 1, right now. Just watching it. I watched the first season a year ago or so, and I've been delaying watching Season 2, but just started it. I have it on pause. Dude says, just doing my putting and stretching in the meantime. Putting and stretching in the meantime. That's good. Keep that going during the winter months. Jerry Medeiros says, disc golf number 1. Heck yeah. Brent says, you should have come over in the snow. Oh my gosh. So snow was coming down yesterday. Brent wanted me to come over. He's nuts. But I was like, okay, I'll see if it's possible. So I backed my car. I'm from Michigan. I backed my car out of the driveway, stand still, uphill, go about 25 feet, say, this is not a good idea. Backed up, back in the driveway. I said, even if I can get out, I don't trust getting back in after several more hours of accumulation. A couple hours later, we watched somebody struggle to leave the road for about 10 minutes. The guy eventually did it, but he was trying to go forward up the hill, and his tires were just spinning, and he was very slowly, like kind of fishtailing back and forth and working his way backwards down the hill. But eventually he found a spot where the snow was kind of, I guess, thick enough that it wasn't packed down and more icy or slippery, and got a running start going up the hill and never stopped. He got out of the neighborhood. I'm not sure if he came back. I have not seen that car in that garage or driveway. So I'm not sure that he's able to safely return. Four-wheel drive can do it. I don't have four-wheel drive. I have a little car. Doc says, Spider-Man Unlimited, live action. In the future, he chases Venom and the other symbiote to another planet. It's pretty good. Sadly, only one season. It's a show? I have not seen that. I've not even heard of it. Doc says, Dude, can we get a book channel on the Discord? If not, no worries. Heck yes. Let's do it. Zach says, do you have an MD1? Yes, I do. I actually just packed it for throwing across the ice. I do. It's Discmania's mid-range. Yes, I do have an MD1. It's nice. Dude says, love J Millie's videos. Editing is clean and modern, and the premises are attention-grabbing. Dude says, sure, I'll do that, Doc. Doc says, nah, man, no rush. Brad was just mentioning books, and I'll never remember. I'm old, so maybe he could throw them in the Discord. That is the best way. Chuck AWD says, Taco Bell. Heck yeah, Taco Bell. Jerry Medeiros says, just watch some Foundation or another round. Yeah, there you go. Foundation has some pretty interesting stuff. And another round, of course, all the ace runs. Doc says, Dude is the GOAT. I'll fight anyone smaller and weaker than me who says he's not. That's really good. I like that, Doc. That's good. Dude says, Books channel has been created. Heck yeah. Zach says, 7,000 is pretty good. I'm very grateful and happy for it. Very, very glad to be where I am. And Melissa Palmier is sending 100 for 2 jewels. Thank you. What a legend. Dude just says, I'll take that, Doc. Sarah Coward says, sorry, Brett, I'm going to go. Watching a movie with my mom. Peace. See you later, Doc and Mr. Man. All right, Silas. Catch you in a while. I'll get that message with your dad, and we'll make sure we get around in sometime the next month when it's not snowy and nasty outside. Bob Weaver's nephew says, you've got game. Thank you. Jason Bender says, hello, Wisconsin. I want some Chuck E. Cheese tonight. I don't have any Chuck E. Cheese coins for you. I'm so sorry. But it looks like Wisconsin outside, even in North Carolina. Charlotte got dumped on with snow. 8 to 12 inches, depending on where you are. Crazy. Doc says, just watched Secret Path again. Movie always gets to me. Couldn't get into Fallout. Been loving Stumble, though. Stumble show? I haven't seen Stumble. I think that I would, generally speaking, like Fallout, but it helps that I've played multiple Fallout games, including Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, and some of Fallout 3. definitely helps. I should probably unpin GK's message. He's not even here anymore to mess with him. Jerry Maderia says, if you ever come to West Plains, Missouri, it would be cool to play around. Courses are, our course is a savage. I haven't been to West Plains, but I was in Missouri for Amateur Worlds, so I did play the Dam and why am I forgetting? Harmony Bends and the third one. I just can't remember it right now. It's just slipping my mind. Must be the cold. But yeah, what was that third one? But the 3 courses for Am Worlds this year, and that was a great time. I had a good time at Am Worlds. I exceeded my expectations. Was very happy with that in my competition, and it was a really great opportunity. But haven't been to West Plains specifically, as far as I know. But yeah, it's just around Jefferson City, pretty much. Let's see. Doc says, my street, 2 out of 3 foot gutters on either side, and you can't tell where they are for the snow. So I'm sitting still. Dude just says, missed first half of the stream at a mission team meeting. Apparently I have to dress as a pirate for the next fundraiser. Not looking forward to it. I just watched all 3 Pirates of the Caribbean while I was snowed in the other day. I say all 3 intentionally. So yeah, I have expectations for that costume. Dude just says, got friends doing it too, so that lightens it. That is true. Doc says, Arg matey, you got this. Jeremy Darius says, do you prefer the tooling on Discraft or do you like the buzzsaw having none? I actually kind of like the tooling because I tend to throw a disc from the same spot every time. Something that Johnny McRae recommended to me. And so I do like Discraft because I like to throw a disc upside, like the stamp upside down. And usually with Discraft, if I flip the stamp, there's tooling that I can stick my finger on and have like a track where I know I'm holding it the exact same way every single time when I throw it. So I do prefer to kind of do that. So I do actually like the tooling. But I don't miss it on other discs. It's just with Discraft, when I do have tooling, I want to find it and want to get my finger on the tooling for whatever reason. Scooby Snack says, heck yeah. Jerry Maderia says, also for a Missouri local, y'all should try out flying fajita. I did not try flying fajita. I tried some taco place that was just okay. Scooby Snack says, anyone know how XP works in live streams? It's a little bit unclear because it seems to be somewhat related to frequency of comments, but for whatever reason, somebody will like join the stream and comment a few times and be like the number 1 person very quickly. I don't know if donations also impact it because GK was number 1 and he has the number 1 crown and he did leave a $2 donation. I'm not sure if that's what happened, but it's a little bit weird. I can read the XP. GK at 175 XP. Scooby, Snacks, and Doc both at 150. And then Toodle, Sarah Coward, and Mr. Man at 75 with JCT. So it's really a weird like drop off there, and I'm not sure if it's comments over time or what exactly impacts that. But you're near the top because you're a legend. Doc says Stumble is an office mockumentary style show about a junior college cheerleader coach. Okay, I guess that makes sense, Stumble, for having to do things without mistakes. I guess that makes sense. Dude just says debating between getting a Jawbreaker Flex Luna, I might not last much longer, or the new Boca. Decisions. I will say Boca, fantastic, highly recommended, but it's probably too flippy for you. So you might actually benefit more from the Flex Luna. But the Boca has a little bit of drift to it, and as much as I like the Wild Honey, and it's too flippy for you, I fear the same for the Boca. That's just my thought process. But the Boca is fantastic. Dude just says the more that you text and donate, the more XP you get, as far as I understand. Love Jawbreaker Plastics, so I'm biased, says Doc. It's a special Ledgestone stamp, too. Ooh. Oh, that XP? Scooby Snacks says, what does it do? I think it's just a ranking for the stream. So you get the number 1 crown or 2 or 3 if you get more XP than everyone else. And that's just your ranking throughout the stream, but it doesn't do anything else. as far as I understand it. It's just for this singular stream, whatever you kind of accumulate. Doc says just to be cool. YouTube trying to find ways to get people to pay. True. Doc says I was thinking of Windows XP. That's how old I am. It's older than Doojit, many years older. Oh gosh. Doc says they had some on sale at Discount Discs. I try to get him to buy a few hundred. The MD1? Are you talking about? Jerry Medaria says Fine Fajita is a local disc golf player that is sponsored by Grow and Throw in Colombia. Oh, Flying Fajita. Oh, it's a person. I definitely thought it was a restaurant. 100%. That's really cool. Yeah, I was in Colombia for Amateur Worlds. I don't know. Was Flying Fajita an amateur player? Was he at Am Worlds? Doc says, me wonders if Doojit is smaller and weaker than himself. Doc says, oh yeah, Wild Honey. Brad, what's up with Clash discs? Hearing they are going under, maybe. No idea. I have no idea. Ooh, a little bit hungry, I think. Don't know anything about Clash going under, but I'm sure that they'll merge with somebody. Somebody will acquire them or whatever will happen. I'm not sure. That's been happening. Hey, 21 Sabian says, what's up, y'all? How you doing, Brad? Or Big Brad, I guess. Doing pretty well. Looking forward to our forehand video once it's not like it is outside. We'll make that happen fairly soon. Dude just says, I've been wanting a Luna anyways, plus I've got a good fairway in the Volt and sometimes an Eagle. Eagles are so nice. Scooby Snack says, awesome. That means I'm a top fan. Heck yeah. I would say that GK cheated and you're the top. He's stole the #1 place. You should have it, and Doc should be #3. Doc says the Wardens that were at $5 at Discount Discs. Oh, Wardens. I must have missed a comment earlier, but yes, you did mention that in the Discord. I was very tempted. I'm not trying to spend much money right now, and I still have 11 Wardens to putt with to practice, but 5 apiece. That would be really nice to stack up a few. So I might have to get a small. I might have to. We'll see. Discount Discs is pretty cheap. 21 Saving says, Doc, what's up, bro? Finally not working a Sunday night. Hey, that's nice. Jeremy says, who's your favorite or most watched disc golf creator other than yourself? Wow, that's a tough question. I really only watch my own videos when I edit them. Although YouTube Shorts I tend to watch. Other than me, for disc golf, I've been dabbling in JCT's videos. Shout out to JCT. I don't really tend to watch too much other than the Disc Golf Pro Tour and Jomez. They're at the top of the list. I guess Queen City. Yeah, I don't know. I don't watch as much disc golf as I wish I did, I guess, in some ways. But at the same time, I like how I spend my time, so it works out. But I don't watch tons of disc golf creators. It's always a tough question when I get it. Dude just says, seeing the flight chart of my bag makes me realize how much overstable I bag. Yes, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. Considering you said the Wild Honey is too flippy. Robert Jones says, I like the Mint Bobcat. I'm trying to remember if I've thrown the Bobcat. No, I've thrown a Bearcat. I don't think I've thrown the Mint Bobcat. Only the Taco. The Taco is really good. Doc says, Brad, trying to buy up some Wild Honeys, or will you just move on to a clone with something else? Great question. I don't know. Probably should buy a couple more. Should probably buy a couple more. They go so far. Robert says, Lat 64 Trust. I haven't thrown the Trust. I love the Rive Royal, or not Royal Grand. Project Grip Rive. Bag a couple of Braves, and the Grace is pretty good as well. But I have other discs for that. Doc says, do it with your arm strength. I think you have to. Yeah. Scooby Snack says, post one of spamming to become top fan. Doc says, oh, you got 11? Sorry then. I mean, I would love to have more Wardens, especially fresh ones. So it's not like it's a bad recommendation. I just don't need more. That's my problem. I don't need more discs. Dude just says that, and I prefer a reliable fade rather than a good turn. Tends to be better. You sometimes want both options, but yeah, for sure. Dude just says, like, the volt goes dead straight. Same with most of the discs. Doc says, Jerry, mine is Uncle Bobby at Dynamic. Speaking of Bobby says, got 8 inches in Fort Mill. Just moved from Florida. Was not ready for that. LOL. Yeah, that's brutal. I moved from Florida a year ago to Charlotte, but I grew up in Michigan, so I'm accustomed to snow like this. But of course, the roads are not accustomed to it, and I do not have all season tires like I used to. But I do have an ice scraper in my car, so at least I have that, and nice boots. Good boots. Yeah, that's brutal. From Florida to 8 inches of snow, that's a rough one. I hope you enjoyed it. It won't happen very often. Dude just says, if I want Annie, I just put it on Annie. 21 Sabian says, forehand is warmed up, warmed up despite the cold. I've really locked in on the touchy Anheuser approaches. Shout out another round, Joe. There you go. Diceheiser says, what's up, fellow disc golf bros? I should have shouted out Diceheiser right before he hopped on. Doc says, hey, Dice. Scooby Snack says, what is your opinion on Goose at the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, like Hole 14's classic rollaway? So that's a great question. So a lot of things happened there. There is some controversy about the call, the spotter calling it. I think it was out, but Goose just could not hold his putting together, and that's always been a weakness of his. And I think that he truly should have a better handle on that. He's a great player. I like the guy. It's extremely high pressure. I don't think poorly of him for starting to lose it and unravel a little bit at the very end. And Calvin deserved it. So, I mean, I'm happy for Calvin, but I think Goose is still growing, and I think he absolutely needs to just buckle down and say, my putt has been my weak point for too long. I am going to get my putt fixed. I'm going to practice putting so much that I will putt better than I throw. And if he does that, he'll win on the Pro Tour. That's all he needs to do. If he had, say, I don't want to be too extreme, like Ezra Robinson's putt success, right? And Ezra's not like top 3, like he's not the best, but he's very good at putting. If Goose had that, he probably would have won 2-3 times last year on the Pro Tour, not just Tour Down Under, but actually during the Pro Tour. So I think it's his putt that fails him, and I think that some of it is the mental pressure of being in the situation, but I think he'll handle it in the future. He's just got to get that putt down. He's got to just sit down and say, I'm putting 400 times a day, 250 times a day, whatever it takes. I've done 200 plus putts a day for 10 days, and it works. It gets you ready to putt. So I think he can do that. I think he could putt successfully, and he just needs to make that happen. And he hasn't. Just hasn't made it happen. Doc says, all my questions are great. I don't know about that. Jerry Medeiros says, Foundation or Joma's Pro Putting League is always up there. Putting League is great. Putting League is great. Doc says, Brad, try Clash's Planty Plastic. DD has some $18.99 only, like 12% off, but watch out for daily deals. I don't know about Planty Plastic. 21 Savings says, definitely was OB. Yeah, I think so too. I've heard people saying it was in. I don't think it was, but he needs to mentally handle it, even if it was the wrong call. Scooby Snack says, Goose recently picked up the dub at La Miranda Open. Makes me happy to see him succeeding. He's definitely, he's really, really good. And as soon as it's not the Pro Tour, he takes a win. He won in the Tour Down Under last year. He just won. He's got it. Except when it gets to on the Pro Tour and when he's playing against Gannon, let's be honest, he's just not as consistently that guy who's there to take the win. And when he is, he'd missed too many putts. So he can do it, and he will, but those putts have to go in. And he's got to keep the mental focus. Speaking of Goose, his new Tour Series disc looks so clean. Heck yeah. Eyeless Jack says Goose has always had that problem. He has. and he can fix it. I know he can. I think he will, but he has always had that problem. Um, and it's crazy because he's got the. I always say he has the angriest eyebrows but the kindest voice on tour. That's somewhat true. He really is a sweet person as far as I can tell, and from meeting him and seeing him talk to other people. But yeah, when you're in that competitive moment, it's hard to keep hold of yourself. Zach says, "How many wardens do you have?" I think I have. Well, I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven here that I don't use. Eight that I don't use at all because they're not the right plastic and weight. And then I have 11, 12 for practicing or in my bag. So I have 20 wardens. I don't necessarily need more, but maybe I do. Scooby Snack says, by the way, Goose is well aware of his putting issues. He is, and he's switched up his putting, and it worked for a little while, and then it kind of fell off again. He knows, and he knows that what I think he knows that he needs to put more work into it and more time into it. And it's hard to attribute a lot of time to something when you're on the pro tour, but you've got to buckle down and make it happen. Got to make it happen. Let's see. Jerry Medeiros says, have you run into Josh from another round? I've run into Joseph several times, but not Josh. I don't know a Josh from another round. But if you're talking about Joseph, yes, I've run into him a lot. He's always at Scrapyard. Scooby Snack says he was putting great at La Miranda Open. There you go. That's how he wins. Let's see. 21 says AT is def winning this, winning one this season. I keep seeing him grinding out at Killy no matter the weather. He is locked in right now. AT. Who's AT? Why am I not? Should I don't know. I'm not sure who AT is. Just can't think. Dice says 200 putts consecutively or chunks of 50. Consecutively, 10 at a time or 11 at a time. Before Am Worlds, I would go to the putting basket and putt 200 to 300 times, and I would change from C1. I would do about 100 to 120 circle ones, and I'd do about 80 from circle two, and then I would do 10 to 90 more from circle one again. So I really kind of made sure I overdid 200 every time. So 200 to 250 was pretty standard, and it paid off at Am Worlds. It really, really paid off. Doc says, do you like green discs? Check out Wild Honey Planty Plastic and Infinite Discs when you get a minute. Green discs are fine. I don't love green in the bag because of my version of color blindness. They just kind of blend in. But I do have some green. If they're bright enough, they're okay. Dude says, chunks of 50, try to improve your percentage each time. I like doing 100 C1s and then calculate my percentage and do another 100 from both from 25 feet. But that's if I want to be boring. Usually I try to go from different distances and different locations around the basket. So there's a different wind direction or height change when I'm putting practicing. Try to get it all. Jerry Medeiros says Goose needs to putt more like Ricky. True. Dude says that's usually what I do, but with 250. Change distance through the 50s. Yeah, it just depends on if you want to compare to look at changes and how they bear out percentage-wise, or if your practice is paying off over time, or if you want variety to stretch yourself. Just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Scooby Snack says Goose did get the same spit out as Nicholas last year. Oof. Doc says Brad, oh, don't do DD for your wardens. Can't really pick weights, I don't think. Okay. Dude says random disc of the stream time. All right, random disc of the stream. Oh, what do we got ourselves right here? We have, ooh, a Claymore. Is that right? I believe that we have a Claymore here. I bagged this for a while. It is indeed a Claymore. This is the Fox Flyers April Fools stamped Claymore. I really enjoyed this event that they run. A couple of years ago, they had a CTP and a furthest to pin, where the person with the worst drive got a prize, and somebody hit a tree and rolled behind the tee pad. So everyone who was playing walks up to the tee pad and sees the FTP furthest to the pin flag behind the tee pad. And we're all like, who did this? And this guy won a prize for having the worst throw on the tee. It was really funny. It's a great event. The Fox Flyers do a good job. I wish that I could be down in Florida more often to play in their tournaments. It's been too long. Jeremy Darius says, have you tried the Zone SS? Is it as good as one of those zones that's been in your bag for over 2 years? Better. I have a spare one. Nope. Here. Emerald stamp. Oh, this is so clean. I might have to bag this eventually, but I have a blue stamped Worlds Zone SS Jawbreaker Z Flex in the bag, and it's so good. It's so good. It's hard to describe. It's dead straight, maybe a touch of drift to it. It's like you get the effect of throwing a putter, but it feels more like you're throwing a mid, and that is doing wonders for me. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. Great disc. Love it. Zach says, try to get you 2 more subscribers today. Thank you. Austin Turner. Duh. Yeah, Austin Turner will do well. He's very good. He's training a lot. He's getting better. Hopefully growing as a person. But he's very talented as a disc golfer. Hopefully that pays off. And yeah, I'm sure that he'll take a win on the Pro Tour in the next 2 years. I'm not sure if he'll pull one out this year. I think he took a 4th. What was that? USDGC? He took 4th or 6th. Very, very far up there. But for him to beat Gannon and Ricky and Calvin and Isaac and Ezra, we'll see. He's good. He's very good. We'll see. Dude says, I love my Zone SS. Perfect flipped up. Drifting shot. It's so good. Jerry says, yes, I had Joseph's name wrong. No problem. Long story, funny story, but basically he knows my brother because of a church connection they had years back. So he kind of generally is aware of who I am and has, of course, also recognized me from seeing me multiple times out on the course. And Yuli also vaguely recognizes me because we played on the same card in the Charlotte Roar Open a year ago, which was filmed by the Greatest Media Team, which is online. You can watch that if you want to see me before I knew how to trim my facial hair. That was last December, a year ago, December 2024. Very, very good month for me in disc golf. So they both have like a vague ability to recognize me. They don't know my name. They don't know who I am or that I have my YouTube channel or anything like that. But they know of me. But yeah, I see Joseph out there a lot. I saw him 4 days ago at Scrapyard. 5 days, whenever Wednesday was. I don't know. 4 days ago. Okay. Doc says, need to post my wardens one day on Discord. Got some fun ones. Subi Snack says, lost a Claymore last year. Oof. They're good discs. Doc says, oh, that's the disc I love most that Brad has. The April Fool's one. It's a good one. Timbo on the T says, let me know when you play Greenway or Sawmill in Ocala, Florida. I'd love to play a few rounds with you. Would love to. I have no way of knowing when I'll be in Florida to play disc golf again, especially out of Gainesville, because I usually go for the Chainhawk Open. If it happens, I'll try to connect. I'll do my absolute best. Hopefully it will. Well, I'm just going to say it. I've got a couple more minutes in me, and then I'm going to have to get some food, take a break, end the stream. But get your comments or questions out in the next couple of minutes, and I'll try to get caught up, on all of the chat. But then I'll be wrapping things up. Okay. Dude just says, I had a dream that I found a 1 claw buzz in a discount bin, then woke up and realized that this didn't exist. I like that a lot. That's great. Doc says, oh, clear discs, and the one you have I love most is the April Fool's one, even if it's not clear. Gotcha. Yeah, the April Fool's one is pretty sweet. Pretty awesome. I love the custom stamp too, because it's Fox Flyers, and their Fox has a Jester's hat on it. It's so good. They go further or says science? Clear discs. Dude just says, I'd like to see Kyle Klein win one this year. Big fan of him. He's got it. He has the putt. He has the smoothness. He has the consistency. So I would not be surprised to see him take a win this year. Not at all. Not at all. Dice says, growing as a person. Shots fired. Doc says, how dare you say it? Dare he say that, Dice? You are as same as you have always been? Okay. Scooby Snack says, I can't believe that Powerball is sponsoring the DGPT. Gambling is the last thing disc golf needs. Good. I think that's a good take. It is, I think the shine of the money distracted from the drawbacks. It's not ideal. I think you're right, and I've heard people say that disc golfers tend to have a bit of addictive personality to them, which is why we're chasing the disc golf grind, and many disc golfers are addicted to weed or drinking. And so, yes, gambling is the last thing that needs to be associated with disc golf. That may be true. I personally, as a Christian, I don't think that gambling is a wise way to spend your money. If you're looking to win big, the house always wins. Not a good idea. I just don't recommend gambling, and it's not ideal that it's where the Pro Tour is looking to get their money from. It may pay off for disc golf in the long term. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's an amazing thing. Dude, Doc says, I don't mind the Powerball. Dude just says, I take Powerball gambling over directly gambling on disc golf on things like Kalshi. I don't know what that is. Doc says, honestly, and wasn't opposed to it for Powerball to the drug one that's sponsored. Was it a cannabis one that was a sponsor? I'm guessing. It is disc golf after all. Dude just says, any money flow into disc golf is good. Yeah, I definitely lean the other direction to where the money is good, but at what cost? And I do think that that's an important thing to consider, that the DGPT isn't. I think there will be damage to their reputation, and they don't need damage to their reputation right now. So there will be drawbacks. There will be negative effects from the partnership. If the money's overwhelming and it's spent well, maybe things end up good in the long run, but it's a little bit disappointing to see. I think it's a little disappointing to see their choices. We'll have to find out what happens. It's not healthy. Gambling is not good for you. Don't gamble. Doc says, Brad, by the way, want a fun, simple Pratchett read, not in the series. Carpet People is fun. More for you, maybe, but I liked it. Okay, good to know. Carpet People. Haven't read it. Dude just says, can't wait for the snow to be gone. Having withdrawals. Oof. Doc says, but we are not addicted to buying more discs on Whatnot. No, now you're addicted to buying books on Whatnot. Doc says, dude just, so is Brad. He was calling books discs. Yeah, it's been like 5 days for me. It's real tough. It is true, though. I was calling it stacks of discs instead of stacks of books. Whatever. That was a long time ago, Doc. Let it go. You have like no memory, but you remember my mistakes. Of course you do. Doc says, Brad, rest of next week, we got to go deep in books, if not a lot of disc talk, LOL. Yes, absolutely. And then we'll get some in the Discord. So try to just make, like, if I'm silent on the Discord for like a couple of days, just ping me or try to tag me or at me in the book Discord and be like, Brad, what recommendations do you have? And I'll try to hop on and give you some recommendations. Scooby says, speaking of reputation, all of the good commenters leaving. That is a problem. That is a problem. That's something we'll have to talk about later, but yeah, that's a bummer. Doc says, not leaving, they were let go. They are also leaving because they were let go. So I'm just saying leaving is still accurate. Zach says, thanks for the help. Now at 14 discs. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Soon 300, Doc says. Don't know about that. Dude just says, speaking of Whatnot, I wish I would have been there to buy Isaac's signed fan blade on Alden's stream. Ooh. Didn't hear about that, but that's cool. Doc says, yeah, Brad, I meant to ask you and Dude about Discord. I want to keep it active, but don't want to bug you guys. Oh, go ahead. I'll just ignore you. It's no problem. Dude just says, Aldens or Ganons. Doc says, Dude should have seen the Givey show on Discount Discs and Whatnot. It was some crazy ones. I don't know. Scooby Snack says, if you want funny disc golf content, Alden's vlog is the way to go. 100%. Thank you for saying that, because I was trying to think of what else I like to watch, and it is Alden's vlog. He's hilarious. All of the boys are, Isaac, Ezra. It's just, they never fail to make me laugh. So good shout out. They are really, really great. So yeah, shout out in addition to Alden's vlog. Very funny videos. Very funny. if you like disc golf, they're very funny. And if you just like comedy in general, they're funny. But the more you know about the people, it just gets hilarious. It's what made Dujit Gannon's #1 fan, not just because he's so good. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Gannon is actually pretty funny. He definitely is. So I'm out of here, but thank you so much for hopping on the stream and hanging out with me. Love you all. I will catch you guys soon. Hopefully next week I'll be back on the stream. So yeah, I should be back next week, and maybe I'll be able to make it a full 2 hours. We'll see. All right. Thank you for hopping on, Scooby. Really appreciate having you this week. Hopefully you can come back and hang out regularly with us, but at the very least, join the Discord and drop in, whatever fun comments you want or looking for advice. We may or may not help you that much, but we'll hang out with you. All right. Flying Potato says, see ya. Thanks for hopping on, Justin. All right. I will try to keep up the great work. All right. Peace out, guys. See you next week.